everybody, I'm Scott Butler and welcome to my YouTube channel. I have with me a special guest here. It's my brother.
Hello everyone in YouTube land.
And we're here at the LA Times Book Festival, and we thought we'd share a little bit of our impressions of two panel discussions we went to. They're right up my brother's alley, and mine too. We went to one event, it was a memoir panel, so writing a memoir, and my brother and I both do a lot of writing for The Memoirist and Medium.com. And my brother, you have a new job, right? You know, volunteer job?
Yeah, volunteer, but yeah, it's at the, called the Press Box on Medium. So it's just basically sports writing, so anything that people want to contribute in the world of sports.
So it just worked out where I wanted to go see 101 cool places in California, but that one was sold out. So we went to sports writing, which is really great too. So we're going to share our number one takeaway for sports writing. So you heard it, my brother is the editor of the Press Box. One of the editors. So definitely you want to get your sports stories on Medium. The Press Box is the place to go. Let's start with our number one takeaway from writing a memoir. What do you remember that was a takeaway for you?
The number one takeaway for me is like why are you writing? You want to have some sort of kind of lesson, like why are you writing about this, and how did you improve as a person, or why is this important?
I think for me, the number one takeaway is they were all writing about like ordinary events. Just they were basically middle-aged women.
Yes.
And they were going through some life-changing events, but still in the midst of those life-changing events, they would just take ordinary, everyday events and they would write memoirs off those. And another one takeaway for me is kind of piggyback on what you said is one of the women said that not so much what happened, but it's the meaning of what happened. It's they try to really drill down to really find that meaning that's going to have a universal relationship to other people. That's kind of what you were talking about, right? Really driving home the meaning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then one more takeaway is how, again, he's talking about everyday life, but I like how they all tie in humor in there. So something horrific could happen. One lady talked about how her husband had just died, and they were celebrating celebrating his life at a funeral, and then as we're preparing for this, her mom died. So it's like, oh, how are you doing? Oh, she just died. So they're able to take something real and authentic and something horrible in their life, and they're able to add humor to it. So that really appealed to me as a writer, like, adding humor, but for the grand scheme of things to get that message.
Let's transition to writing sports. So again, the Press Box is a new publication on Medium. Mike is an editor, one of the editors, and it's a great place to write sports. And in the first week, I wrote a story about how the women were kicking ass on the men, because the women were writing just more informal, fun, casual, entertaining stories where it wasn't just about stats. It's kind of your standard sports story. So there's a lot of cool takeaways from the sports session. What's the main takeaway from doing the sports session?
I think the main takeaway there is they had a story to tell. There was something that it started out as an idea. Most of them were, I think, two of them were a newspaper, and one was a website, but they had a story, and then they were able to escalate and turn it into a book. So all three of the people out there, Bill Plaschke from the LA Times, a gentleman from the Orange County Register, I forget his name, and he's at the Athletic, and then the other people there, they all had great, I want to buy all their books. One was on a fire at Pasadena football, and he tells this amazing story how they're all cooped up in hotels and trailers and couches. They go out to practice in the vacant field. He goes, all right, who's got a football? And no one has a football. And he just said to himself, there's more than a story here. There's a book. And he really got to know those people. To you, Scott?
I'd say that one thing that stood out to me is at the very beginning, the moderator asked Bill Plaschke, he's a sports columnist for the LA Times, he asked him, how do you know if you really have a book that you need to write? And I'm just looking at my notes here, and it says, Bill said, the reason you know that you really have a book is if you have a story that needs or wants to be told. It's deeper than just one story, or deeper than just telling someone about the story over dinner, but it's something about the story that needs and wants to be told. And I really related to that, whether it's sports or whether it's memoir, that you have this story that really needs to be told.
Yeah, I think that totally resonates, and I think also that even though the other people on the panel didn't say that, it resonated in their message, because the two writers that wrote about the Women's National Football League, and they said, I bet no one knows it existed. Yeah, guilty. I didn't know that. So they wrote this story, and they presented an idea at first that no one wanted to do, and then as they researched it and found out about this league from 1974 to 1988 and got more information, they collaborate together, even though they have completely different writing styles. And I'm like, wow, I'm in. I want to buy that book. So they really weaved a good story, and like I said, they got me. I can't wait to read that one too.
Yeah, I like one thing, too, that stood out to me. It's really more of a journalism tip, but Bill Plaschke's going up to the city Paradise, and he's trying to get people to tell him the story. And I like what he said about how to get people to tell you information when you want to write a story. And he said it's not like you're sticking the camera up there, and trying to get them to tell you their story, but you just kind of stay real laid back. You're not reading off, some questions you have on a piece of paper, but you're just trying to, just be real casual about it, and just realize that these people have a story they want to tell you. But if you just kind of lay back and just kind of, don't come too gung-ho, they'll tell you that story,
Yeah, and an important takeaway too, I think that again, that all three of four authors had in common is whatever their topic was, they were very passionate about it. So whether it was the people in Paradise that lost their whole entire city and want to keep football, they're passionate about football and living their lives. The women football players are passionate about their sport. And then the third person talked about how the Dodgers won the championship. He didn't want it to be a championship book about that season. He wanted how did they win that championship, meaning the management was passionate about putting a team together. And then the passionate part also flew over, went out to the audience, because when they were asking questions, everybody was just asking these why did the Dodgers do this? Why did they yank Kershaw? How come the LA Kings aren't getting more coverage than time? So I think it shows you that sports is a very, very passionate thing. And that's why, again, I'm promoting the press box, because it is passionate. People love it. People want to read about it. People want to talk about it. People want to argue about it. So write those emotion-filled, passionate pieces and submit them to the press box.
Yeah, I noticed that too. When the sports panel discussion was over, everybody was raising their hand, question. And the memoir one finished, they had a few questions, but the people were pretty calm, so people have a lot of passion about sports. I got to ask you this, but I was reading about this, I didn't get a chance to watch this probably like you did, but I heard that Clayton Kershaw, he had a perfect game going. If you don't know a perfect game, that means nobody got a hit. He didn't have any walks where people were on base from a walk, but he's got this perfect game, and the manager, Dave Roberts, takes him out.
Yeah, and
everybody, you were in the bathroom, and you were talking to people left and right on this urinal and that urinal, and everybody was really had an opinion on that. What's your opinion? Should they have kept him in there, and for the long-term record of baseball, or should they have saved his arm for October?
Yeah, that was a hot topic today in the sportswriting one. I think they should have left him in here. I mean, they're preaching in there. All the panelists were saying, we're not trying to win in April. We're trying to win in October. So that's why we don't worry about this one game. But I'm thinking, okay, that's good and dandy. That sounds good on paper. But what if they pull him? October comes around and they lose the division, then that doesn't even matter. So I'm like, come on, how many? It could be one pitch. He's at, like Scott said, he's at 80 pitches. To me, it's always the 100. I mean, back in the day, Nolan Ryan would throw 150 pitches. So I say, leave him in there. I mean, you got to have what's the game about? That's one of the golden elements of baseball, is the perfect game. It rarely happens. So write him out. I get so irritated with some of this analytics of baseball. The Dodgers did in the playoffs last year, and look, they got by the Giants, but then it failed them in the Braves. So I'm just more a traditionalist. Just throw your pitcher until he's tired, throw him until they get hit off him, then go to their bullpen. I get tired of the whole lefty, righty, this amount of pitch and stuff like that. So that's my.
I just want to thank my brother here.
Wait. One more. We got one more takeaway. We got a takeaway about the third point, besides the two workshops or panels, was a beautiful day here. And then usually when you go to these things or the mall, at the airport, like the people watch. Guess what I'm doing? I'm book watching. Someone will walk by and I thought I saw this book. Hey, what's that book? So I'm constantly book watching. There's lots of crazy booths. I was not very happy with one. They had like a grand piano, and people are like, oh, I want to hear the music. I'm like, it's a book festival. What are you doing? And then another thing is, I'm a big UCLA guy. I run the USC campus. So it's a little hard watching all these fight on this SC fans and everything. And then I lost a bet. These SC people had shirts on. They're all walking towards the stadium. I said, I bet you a Coke, a beer, whatever you want. I said, I bet you they're going to a big baseball game. He said, no, it's spring football. And he won. Yeah. I lost. I owe him whatever.
And, I agree with you. That's like bookjacking when you bring a piano to a book festival. No, that's not right.
But we do give kudos. They had this little right over here. You can't see it, of course, but they had like a little thing where you take your picture, and we took a couple of those. That was cool. So if you can get away with doing like a fun activity for the kiddos and all that kind of stuff, and entertain us, hands-on and stuff like that, then we'll give you a free pass. But no pianos. Go do that at the music festival.
Oh, I forgot. I got a special guest here.
Yeah, get in here, Dominic.
Hey, screw over there. Hey, there's Dominic. Hey, Dominic's here, and this is him, 14 years old. The last time we were here before the pandemic, you were how old?
I'm 11, I think.
11. So now he's here at 14. He did an amazing job, listening to the memoir and sports writing, and he has a good story though about the first time we were here, man. Do you remember that story?
Yeah.
We were looking for some books, just like my brother said, there's like book booths galore here. And what was the book you found last time?
A book called Go to Sleep.
Hey.
It's a book called Go the F to Sleep. And you were reading it last time?
Yeah, it had a lot of bad words in it.
It's a really humor book, humor, memoir.
Satire.
What we learned today. It's satire, you said. And so you remember what happened? You were reading the book, and was I paying attention? Your mom was here. Was she noticing?
My mom was here and she was angry.
She got angry, man?
Yeah, why when she found out she was mad. She's like,
know,
what did I
She's gonna make the
say?
video, folks. Get back in the video here. She got, what'd she say?
She said, what did that say? That's what she said.
Yeah. Well, parents, they want you to have good language, good values, so I can understand how your mom was feeling. We were looking for the book today. Did you find it?
No.
Oh, man.
I'm also looking for the popcorn.
Yeah, where's the caramel popcorn?
Exactly. They had that. When I took my kids, this is the first time I've been in like 15 years. And I just remember that popcorn, so we got to find that. That's acceptable too.
We're going to do a quick food review here. Your chili dog, A, B, C, D, or F?
I'm going to give it a 87%. It was like between the two panel discussion things, so I had no time. You shouldn't be ordering chili cheese dogs at a book festival. Just too messy, way too messy. It was good, but just a little on the messy side. Just hot dog. I want to see that charcoal in there, so I'm gonna give it a B+.
Yeah, I learned something about my brother. He eats chili dogs with a fork.
Yeah.
And he ate it in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
How was your fries? A, B, C, D, or F?
A.
A, yeah.
All right.
How come they were A+?
We're good. Because I had them last time we were here.
You love fries, huh?
Yeah.
All right, I had as my brother said, I had the pastrami grilled cheese sandwich. Oh man, it had like all these flavors in there, man, and it was like, it was an A+. You took a bite, huh?
It was an A, yeah.
Yeah, I would give that an A+, man. So we encourage you to come to the LA Book Fair. If you're ever in Los Angeles around April, get in there. And
Bills Media got some serious hype today, both from panelist Bill Plaschke and one of the people that wrote the Women's Football League book. They both gave a shout out to Bills Media.
Yeah,
That was cool.
Bill's got a huge shout out from the stage and off stage twice from two of the panelists, so go Buffalo Bills. You want to tell a quick story about Buffalo Bills when we were a kid growing up?
I just remember we used to go to games. We go in December in Buffalo, which is not pretty, so we'd go down there and we'd go to a game, and then every time the Bills would punt, we'd go up to the bathroom and warm our hands in there, drink some hot chocolate, we'd go to the bathroom just to warm up, and we'd come back down, and it was definitely a rite of passage. And
yeah, I remember
Bills fans during the O.J. Simpson
I remember being in the bathroom more than sometimes being in the game because it was so darn cold.
That's right.
I think we're around the same age as Steve Reese.
I think so.
We could have been at a game watching O.J. Simpson. What's that guy, Braxton?
Jim Braxton, Joe Ferguson, Jerry Butler. Yeah,
we could have been there.
Joe
and Steve
Delamador.
Reese from Medium could have been there, Yeah, good memories.
Good memories.
Buffalo Braves? Any memories there?
Buffalo Braves, lots of them. Ernie DiGregorio. One time I went to their camp at Fredonia, and they all signed this basketball. I wish I still had it, but lots of great memories of the Buffalo Braves. Yeah, I still remember the song, Buffalo, home of the Braves. Yeah.
The actual Buffalo Bills football team, they'd have their camp in the town we grew up in, called Fredonia, so we get to see like a basketball game with the Buffalo Bills players. We saw the Buffalo Sabres, man.
Yeah, that was fun too. Yeah, there's nothing like the Odd, the auditorium. It was great.
Sports is it, man.
Sports is
the press
it.
box. Final plug for the press box.
Get there. Press box. Write it. Put your emotion. Get the highs. Get the lows. We want to read it all. We want to read every sport. We want to read that human interest connection. You got it. Press box. Get it in there.
All right, signing out from the LA Times Book Fair. I'm Scott Butwell. My YouTube channel is here to give you actionable, helpful tips to succeed on Medium and to introduce you to publications like the Press Box. And my special guest has been my brother, Mike Butler. I was about to call you Mike Butwell.
That
you changed your name.
You changed your name.
You want to tell your story about why you changed your name?
I changed my name for the kids' sake. So we were I married my wife, and she kept her name. So I'm like, you know, I'm a teacher. I was 3rd grade, but I was gonna go up to 6th grade. I'm like, okay. And then my kids, one of them, I only had one of my kids at that time. So I'm like, hey, let's make it easy for everybody. Let's like not get the kids teased. I don't want to deal with being teased. My wife can change her name. So there you go. That's the story.
No,
There's a
should we
medium
change
story
our
on it
name?
too.
Yeah.
My son, you said we should change our name, man. Should I take on the Butler?
Probably.
Whoa, yikes. Anyway, signing out here.
All right.
Thanks for listening,
Book fair.
everybody. Book Fair, LA Times Festival. It's a great time, man.